and welcome back to The Movies Made Us Do It. Me and Matt are back. How are you, Matt?
I'm pretty good, sir. How are you?
I am well. I am looking forward to discussing Willow, a movie I have not seen in a long time.
Oh, me neither.
But we haven't. Well, I don't think either of us have watched the TV show, right? So
no, and I'm not going to touch it either.
No, I'm not likely to touch it ever.
I saw some of the reviews and I watched this brew's reviews of it and was like, yeah, no.
I plan to never have to never pay for a Disney Plus subscription, so
yeah.
I doubt I will ever see it. I did I got one free with my phone. When I got my last phone, I got like a free subscription for 6 months, and all I did was watch Fox stuff that I couldn't be bothered to get the Blu-ray for. Like I was like, I can't bother to grab the Blu-ray. I'll just check it on. That's
the problem with Disney though now, isn't it? Is they've got so many fucking properties that weren't theirs. They've got all the stuff, and it's like, God damn it, something else for them to bloody ruin.
But Willow though, from 1988. I've got really fond memories of this movie as a kid. I don't know about yourself. When did you see it? How did you see it?
Video.
Video, yeah.
I didn't see it at the cinema, sadly, but I did see it as soon as it came out on video. And it was one of those sort of like, I'm waiting for it to come out sort of things.
Okay, you know? You had the anticipation of it hitting the video store. Yeah.
And I had the comic, and I also had the do you remember that Kellogg's had a giveaway?
I don't remember that. No.
They were these little sort of squishy card things. It was like a base.
Okay.
And a little sort of. I'd say it's not a figure. It was a
well, like a standee, like a cardboard standee, kind of like a cheap board game kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you had those, and it had there was a Mad Mardigan one, there was a Creel one, and but basically most of the characters had a.
Well, I have the Willow board game.
Oh, really?
From the 80s, yeah, and I am pretty sure it has exactly that. It has the cardboard cutout dudes.
Is it any good?
From memory, it's good. It's one of those it's from memory, it was surprisingly in depth for what is effectively a Willow game. Like they actually went the D&D route as far as they could with it. But it's one of those that the box has been here since like forever. It used to be at my parents', now it's here, and it's one of those things that anytime people come around to play board games, I'm like, one day we'll break out Willow and we'll find out how well that game is aged. But yeah, I remember it being all right.
Most tie-in board games were terrible.
Yeah, this one they actually seem to put quite a bit of effort in, though.
I think a lot of them were already board games that they just
coat of
paint on, so that they had nothing to do with the movies. So it was always nice when a board game came out and it's like, hey, this has actually got something to do with the film.
Yeah, but like you, VHS for me, although later. I loved this movie as a kid. I thought it was fantastic. Revisiting it this week has been interesting. I have thoughts, but I very much enjoyed it. And ILM, man, these effects look amazing. This movie looks incredible.
Yeah, well, this is one of the first sort of movies to use the sort of morph technology, really.
Yeah, and it does it very well. It does it better than a lot of other things did later.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so well, I guess because also you've got. It's not just ILM. It's also you've got the fact that the especially with the morph scenes, you've got the puppets that were Phil Tippett. So you're like already you're onto a winner with that, and they're so good. If you see this sort of some of the behind the scenes stuff, when you've got the especially with the goat puppet that
and when they're like turning to pigs and stuff as well.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff there, and I kind of forgotten how beautiful it is. It's really
gorgeous.
Beautiful.
It's really well shot.
Yeah,
really well shot.
Really, and the funny thing is there's so many scenes that you sort of like, you look at and you go, "Oh wow, that really does look like straight out of Lord of the Rings."
Apart from the sled scene, I was like, "Wow, someone watched The Living Daylights a year before."
That was it. I was thinking...
Literally a year before. Because I was watching it and I was like, this is the Living Daylights. And I was like, which one came out first? And I looked it up and Living Daylights was 87, I think. So, yeah.
I was sat there racking my brain thinking, if this is a Bond thing, and I can't remember which place.
Yeah, it's Bond Living Daylights on the car door.
Totally the Living
on the cello, sorry, on the cello.
Yeah. That is... Yep.
But anyway, a great movie, and we're gonna go through it. So let's do it.
Oh, before we get into it, there was a bit of an oversight that I didn't realise.
Oh.
So when last episode when we were talking about Val Kilmer's death and a number of other people, Jean Marsh has actually died too.
Oh, okay.
She died 13th of this month.
Oh wow.
She was 90. So obviously Queen Bathmorda. She was really good at playing awful, evil people. So she played Mombi in Return to Oz, which I love her in Return to Oz.
I love One Day We Will Do Return to Oz because I love that movie.
Absolutely. I love, and might be controversial to some people, but I love Return to Oz more than I love The Wizard of Oz.
I think they're very different. Mm-hmm. If I was given a choice to watch one, it would be Return to Oz.
Yeah, for me,
I think they're both wonderful movies.
They are. I'm not trying to say that The Wizard of Oz isn't terrible. I love The Wizard of Oz too, but there's something. I think I was probably. I
just love how creepy that movie is. It's just horrible.
I think I was the right age for Return to Oz, and I loved Fairuza Balk was great, and you've got all the. TikTok is great. And
TikTok's the best, man. I love TikTok.
And Jean Marsh is great. And also...
Yeah, she is.
Jean Marsh was in Doctor Who 3 times.
Yeah.
So she played Joan of England in The Crusade. And she was... Weirdly, she's considered a companion by some people, but she was only really in one story. It was Sarah Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first Doctor. Theoretically, a first Doctor companion. Though she reprised the role for a number of audios. So there was a lot of audios she did as Sarah Kingdom.
Right.
And then, of course, she was the wonderful Morgaine in Battlefield.
I love Battlefield.
It's one of my favourite McCoy episodes. It's so good. And she's great as Morgaine. I love the whole, hey, the Doctor's Merlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually a really good... like a sequel story to that by Mark Gatiss, which is like a missing Doctor adventure. But yeah, she was fantastic. And what I didn't know is that I knew she was in. I mean, big TV actress. She was in a lot of TV stuff, and she was in Upstairs, Downstairs. But what I didn't know is that she was actually behind one of the people behind it. She wrote Upstairs, Downstairs.
Right.
Her and Atkins wrote Upstairs, Downstairs together, and I was like, wow, I did not know that. So yeah, and also she was married to John Pertwee from 55 to 60.
Right.
When they were a lot younger. So yeah, she had an amazing career, a wonderful woman. And she's
absolutely.
She's so great in this.
Oh, she's fantastic. Is the most inept, useless evil queen ever.
It's ridiculously powerful though.
Ridiculously powerful, but fucking stupid.
Yeah,
multiple times. Well, we'll get to it almost immediately. The movie opens. As all good fantasy movies should open, with just some smoke and some text on screen telling us about the prophecy and there's a time of dread, and we learn that the evil queen there's a prophecy that a newborn child girl will basically lead to her downfall. So she's taken it upon herself to have her men round up any pregnant women, and every girl that gets born is checked. And if they bear the mark, then they're to be, dealt with.
Yeah, very King Herod. There is a lot of biblical sort of stuff in
there. There certainly is. And we open on one such event. We have this woman sobbing. She's got a newborn baby, and the Queen's daughter has come to check the baby, and of course. Turns out the baby has the mark. So, cut his head off. Problem solved. Like, literally.
Well, no, but she can't though, can she?
Why not?
Because she has to do the ritual.
Why? If it's dead.
No, I think so.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the movie never really made it clear to me why. Like, why do you need to do the ritual? Because the whole thing is like, oh, this thing it's gonna be she will be my downfall, and it's like, but just kill her then.
Well, so the ritual basically consigns the soul to the oblivion.
Oh, I guess the idea is that it would just be reborn into another soul.
That would be my guess.
Fair enough.
So my guess would be, even if you killed it, it would just come, return as another baby at some point. Because I think it's
that works. We'll go with that.
I think it's also it's I guess that I've never read the book, and it's been such a long time since I've read the comic, but I'm sure that the ritual strengthens Bathmorda and gets rid of the soul of the baby at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's always what I got.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that. I mean, luckily, all of the guards are just as stupid. She manages to give the midwife the baby, who then just kind of walks out.
Yeah.
And no one thinks to stop her or check. She just okay. And there's a great scene of her leaving the castle, and they're all just like, she's just like, yeah, don't mind me. I'm just carrying something wood, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, there is a certain amount of servants are just ignored, so
sure
you can kind of get away with it to a certain degree.
I thought this was the most important thing in the world.
The fact that she's the oh blimey, what is it? Not what do they call it?
Baby?
No, the woman that takes her away.
Yeah, midwife, right?
Midwife, thank you.
Yeah.
God, I could not find the word midwife. God, I'm old.
I know the feeling, mate. Don't worry.
But the fact that she's the midwife.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I would definitely check her.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
But she does. I mean, she keeps her head down when she's going, and
she does. She looks really shifty, like super shifty on the way out. But she gets away with it, and we get some lovely scenes of her caring for the child as she travels through beautiful scenery. As you said, it's looks like New Zealand, like Middle Earth. It's gorgeous.
I think those bits are Wales. I think
may well be, yeah. But
it's overall, it's filmed in Wales. A bit in London, I think. A lot of the stuff was done in Elstree, I think. And then California, and then New Zealand. I think all the snowy mountain stuff is all New Zealand. So yeah, there's a real sort of mixture of places. The rainy stuff obviously was all in Wales.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But unfortunately, it's not long before the sound of barking dogs? Creatures can be heard.
They're death dogs.
Deathy dogs, and they look amazing, by the way.
They do look cool.
I think there's very few shots where you can see it, They look good.
Yeah, they're Rottweilers in rubber masks. Basically.
But there's a couple of shots that I was like, okay, yeah, but not many. Not too many.
A bit in when they're in the village where you see the actual puppet head that they built,
and that looked great,
which looks really good. Yeah, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, that really sold it. So the dogs catch the midwife, but not before she manages to send the baby downstream.
Yeah, do a Moses.
Do a Moses, as you said. Lots of religious,
biblical reference.
Yeah. And she is torn apart by death dogs.
Yeah.
So the baby travels downriver. Some of the river looks quite dodgy. I mean, it was quite lucky.
Yeah.
There is one shot where I'm like, is that baby coming up to a waterfall? Like, I'm not sure. It's looking really choppy, but luckily not. Of course, the baby comes to a nice calm stop underneath a bird. It's all very Disney. And of course we discover that it's arrived in the dwarf village, or on the outskirts of the dwarf village, and is found by Willow's kids, who I cannot remember the name of.
Mims and...
Mims is the one I remember because he's always shouting Mims.
No, Mims is the little girl.
Yeah. There's the bit in the village where he's like, Mims,
yeah, of course,
Mims! And he's like constantly running around. But what's the other one called?
I don't know what the little boy's
Okay,
called.
never mind. But yeah, anyway, the little boy runs up to Willow. He's like, "Oh, Dad, we've come see." And I love Willow's first reaction is like, "Well, let's just push it further down the river, and it's not our problem anymore."
It's a daikini baby. We just
so daikini is what they call human-sized people, right?
Yeah,
like regular-sized people.
It's got daikini cuties. We don't.
Yeah. By the way, this little baby, amazing. Like I don't know what they did to get this baby to act, but her expressions are perfect the whole way through this film.
They must have hours of film.
Yeah.
That's the little baby's expressions, because
she's so expressionful as well.
So
like,
good. Yeah,
she's amazing.
Yeah, she's so brilliant. The most of the kid actors in this, his kids are wonderful.
Really good.
They're so like charming and sweet and brilliant. And really, really just all round cute.
Yes.
And yeah, the baby's expressions. What I do like is the red hair poking out at the top, which is of course a wig. Almost everybody in this is wearing a wig. The dogs are wearing a wig. The babies are wearing a wig.
Yeah.
Willow's wearing a wig.
Yes. Yeah. There is a lot of wigs. But of course, Willow hears Mr. Burglecut arguing with his wife, and he's like, "Right, kids, do not touch this thing. I'm going to go in and deal with this. Do not touch the baby." And of course, he heads out and is chastised because he says, "Well, you still haven't paid your debts to me." He's complaining about his debts, and of course, Willow says, "Well, maybe I could, I could use magic," and he's like, "You can't use magic. You're
yeah, because he's saying it's to do with his seeds, isn't it?
Yes,
yeah,
he's
seeds, and you haven't paid me and stuff. So, we got these from the forest, and there's nothing, no law against just getting stuff from the forest, is there?
Yeah,
like bullshit, but sure.
But it's made pretty clear that he wants the land. He basically it's just a scheme to try and for Burglecut to get Willow's land. He's like, and he even says, he's like, "I will have this land. I will take this land." But then, much to Willow's dismay, he's just dealt with this horrible bastard of a man, and then he comes back to find his wife cooing over the baby. And it's like, oh no, it's too late. He knows it's too late now. It's like, you're done for now, mate. That's the end of this.
Like, do not fall in love with it. And
should have pushed it down river when you had the chance. It's too late. You're stuck with it now. And I love they all, like, her and the kids walk off, and he's like, "Hey, I will not be ignored." Just like gone. I
will say that I don't really buy that those two kids are 17-year-old Warwick Davis's kids.
No, well, they're better actors than Warwick Davis is for a start, which is distracting.
You are not wrong.
Yeah, it somehow works. Like, I've seen Warwick Davis give really good performances, and he is very young here, so it's early. I mean, he went from what, like, Ewok suit to this, right, or the other way around?
Yeah, apparently Lucas wrote this role for him.
Yeah. So fair enough. First major role and all that, and it is kind of endearing. It kind of works anyway somehow. Yeah. I can't really explain it. It's not to the film's detriment. It does work fine.
No, it's sort of I guess
it's endearing. I think it's cute.
I was gonna say pretentiously it's naive. Let's say it's
yes, naive. and it does play into his character, who is quite naive. So
yeah.
But of course they take the baby home, and even Willow has to concede. He starts smiling, he's holding the baby, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, like, fair enough. It is kind of cute."
I mean, my guess is that there's something with the baby that produces that
magic. Yeah,
produces the sort of love effect.
Yeah, that could work. Or well, I mean, I guess Willow in particular is magic sensitive. Maybe he can sense the magic there. But in any case, Willow's off to, I guess, some kind of, I am assuming it's some kind of festival thing.
Yeah.
They don't do this every fucking day. Sure.
No, it does seem to be
it's an event.
Some sort of festival for. It must be maybe a planting festival or something.
Yeah, maybe like a crop festival kind of thing. Yeah. And Willow wows the crowd for a brief moment with his incredible magic skills.
But yeah, it's also to do with the High Elwyn, isn't it? Getting each year he
picks some at least one hopeful, if possible, to become his apprentice.
He hasn't, I guess, for years. So
no, you get the impression from him that they've just been rubbish every year and failed. Willow, of course, is showing his magic skills, but it's all smoke and mirrors here. It's not actual magic.
It's conjuring magic. It's and what I quite like is that Davis had to learn how to do that, so he actually knows how to perform magic, which is quite cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. I think he had to learn to do a lot of things for this movie.
I imagine so.
He had to learn how to ride, how to do a bit of sword fighting, magic tricks. It's like he had a pretty
it's all the stuff you'd love to do at 17, right? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool thing for him to do.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, can you imagine 17, they say to you, what we're going to do is going to teach you how to ride a horse and swing a sword and
do magic.
Say less. I will.
yeah. Sold. But yeah, Willow does some fake magic tricks. Does the sword through the wood on his hand, on his wrist. Sorry,
flaming sort of torchy thing through.
And then he tries to make a pig disappear, which he does kind of, but then the pig obviously runs out from under the table and gives the whole thing away.
Doesn't really secure the pig very well.
But there is a moment where he has the crowd fooled briefly.
Yeah, they're all moving and eyeing.
Yeah. But
about this is as well is this whole village set is amazing. It's such a great set, and it's I think at that point the most little people ever cast, like around
really
250-ish. Yeah, about 250 little people cast.
Well, it really sells it though. It works so well. Like you do totally buy because they went for a full cast.
Mm-hmm.
It completely sells the idea that it is just like a fantasy realm and a group of people. It's amazing.
It's basically just like Hobbiton, really, isn't it? It's a
but it's
scaled down version of Hobbiton, I suppose.
Yeah. And I know they did with Lord of the Rings. It was mostly in camera tricks anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could argue they could have done that here, but I really love this. It really does give it a unique feel.
Yeah, it's really cool, and you I don't know whether you noticed him, but Kenny Baker in the band.
Oh yeah.
Kenny Baker in the band. You got a few other sort of faces from other things like Tony Cox is one of the warriors. Phil Fondacaro. It's got some people that you recognise, and of course I think one of the villagers was Warwick Davis's wife as well. So there's well, not at the time obviously, but it would go on to be his wife.
Yes.
So yeah, it was the biggest cast of little people, and they're from sort of all over as well, all over the world, which was cool.
Yeah.
And I think originally Lucas had this idea for this sort of movie-ish, I would say, from like the 70s. He wanted to do something like this, and it was, I think, originally going to be called like Munchkins, because I think he originally wanted a sort of Munchkin movie sort of thing, and I think it morphed into this as he went along.
Well, it's time for the wizard man. He's brought in on he's kind of carried in on his chair, C-3PO style. And he sells the hopefuls come up, including Willow, which immediately gets some laughs from the audience. They're like, "Really, Willow?" And he says, magic is the bloodstream that courses through the universe, and he kind of says, well, one of you will hopefully become my apprentice. All you need to do is point to the finger that creates magic, and he holds up his fingers, and one by one, they all pick a finger, and we all know. Like, I knew immediately. I was like, I know the fucking answer to this.
It is one of those things where you think, really?
Yeah, really, you didn't get this?
This is the question. Okay, sure.
Yeah. And of course, Willow, we will find, knew the answer, but I guess he felt it was too egotistical, so he didn't do it.
Yeah, he hesitates. He doesn't have. I guess it's just the faith in himself, isn't it? Which is kind of his whole thing throughout most of the movie. Is he doesn't have faith in himself.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like he does know the answer, but he doesn't back himself.
They do quite well with that arc, I think. Once he meets Mad Mardigan, like they do have a bit more, like he becomes a bit more assertive and a bit more like he does start to get there.
Mm-hmm. So of course the High Elwyn played by Billy Barty, who in so many things. He's kind of have a love-hate thing with him, but Gwildor from Masters of the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sort of like, where's fucking Ukko? Why have we got this this weird Gwildor thing? But he kind of grew on me, and I kind of like Gwildor.
I like Gwildor. I just would have rathered Orko. I don't really understand why Orko wasn't there. Like, and also, if you're not going to do Orko, just don't do one, because those characters are the most annoying characters in every fucking cartoon. Like, don't. We don't need like if you insist on doing fucking Snarf, then do Snarf. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't create another equally annoying character. Like, that's just, what's the point? You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, the festival music continues, and then the festival continues. As Willow's kind of very, I guess, crestfallen. He was hopeful. But it doesn't last long, because then the attack death dogs appear and start attacking the village. Clearly in search of something, because they're after kids specifically. And of course Mims is crying in the middle.
Oh, and... little Mims. I love that. It almost feels like they shook her or something and stuck her on a log. And
there are a few bits.
Chaos.
There's a few moments in this movie. There's a few moments in this movie with kids where I'm like, did you slap that child? Like, what did you do? Because it's very convincing, and I don't believe they're that good at acting.
Genuinely crying in that.
She looks genuine. Yeah.
Bless her.
If she's acting, she's wonderful. But I did wonder, like,
no, she is definitely full on crying in this scene.
But yeah, so one of the dogs ends up running and getting speared by one of the village.
It's actually, I really like this scene, because you've got so it basically destroys a
cot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it destroys a cot, and then you get the little the warriors come out with the spears, and they are really cool. Like they've got really cool. The costumes in this are great.
The costuming's superb. Yeah.
Some of the helmets in some of the bad guys are a bit fucking weird.
The skull helmet's pretty naff.
The skull helmet's amazing. And Saoirse's helmet. Saoirse looks amazing.
The skull helmet's kind of naff until it gets half broken, and then it looks way better. But
I like Saoirse's helmet as well.
I do like that. That's cool.
She looks fantastic. I mean, it was also partly due to the fact that it's Joanne Wally, but a lot of the costuming is amazing. It's only some of the helmets that look a bit sus. But they look great when they were in it specifically. Tony Cox and Phil Fondacaro come out as the warriors, and they sort of hem it in, and they.
What I like is that the death dog jumps at one of them, who kills it.
Yeah.
The rest of them are all stood back, and then after it's dead on the floor, they all walk up and go stab. It's like, I helped.
Yeah, it's like we're killing it. We're killing it. But that's totally villager behaviour.
No, it is. It absolutely is. It's great. It's really good.
We're doing our bit.
Yeah.
We're totally killing it. I did get that wonderful the puppet of when it's snapping at the spears.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
It is really good. And that, as you said, the puppet, really, really good. So of course they determined from the cot that this dog was looking for someone. Like they're looking for someone clearly, and of course Willow immediately thinks of the child and then thinks of his wife. So he runs home to her, pretty distraught. And I do think is a lovely moment when he runs up and hugs her, and it's like a genuine like, oh my god,
get a lovely
you're alive.
little fake out with the, there's no one around, there's no one in the house. Where is she?
Yeah.
All quiet. There's no sound.
And then Willow's like, oh, we got to get rid of this kid.
Yeah, quick to the river.
Yeah, well, we're past the river now. It's like, okay, I guess we'll take it to the elder now. It's gone on too long. And there's already a town meeting,
And I do love the fact that Burglecut is kind of bigger than everybody else.
Yes.
He's clearly a dwarf, but he's a really big chunky dwarf. Yeah. And I love the fact that he sort of towers over everybody.
Well, he's the big bully, isn't he, effectively?
He's a complete bully. And I love the when they're walking in with the baby, and he says, we will find out whoever's got what it is they want, and we'll put them in the pit. And Willow's like, uh-oh.
He just slowly turns around and starts walking back out.
Yeah. The Alwyn notices him.
Yeah, he's literally got like he's got baby's legs hanging out the bottom of this. So it's like pretty obvious. Yeah, and he's like, Willow, come here. And of course they say, it's a human child, or Daikini, or whatever they call it. Daikini. Yeah. And of course they're all like, well, murder it. But of course the elder is like, no, this Daikini is magic. She's magical. Yeah, and
mark on her arm.
Yeah, and he's, they say, well, someone has to take her, and of course, immediately Willow's dropped in it. He's like, well, it should be Willow.
He did it.
Yeah, he found it, he brought it in, and that's it. But of course, the elder's like, well, I will consult the bones. We'll not leave this to fate. We'll consult the bones. But then I love when the elder looks up and he looks at Willow and he's like, these bones are telling me fucking nothing, mate.
Yeah, I love that too. He throws them.
He's like, how much do you like this child?
Yeah, he's like, these bones tell me nothing.
Nothing. But I love it when he's like, do you care about this child? And there's a really sweet moment between Willow and the baby when they make eye contact and he's like, yes. Yeah, I do.
We need a volunteer to go with him, and the warrior set forward, and Burglecut's like, absolutely not. We are not sending our best warrior out with him. He will protect the village.
It's a fair argument.
Yeah.
Like they someone's come looking for this baby once, and their dogs have now died, or one of their dogs has died. It's entirely possible that they're going to come back. So you need to protect the village. But
the Alwyn says, else needs to go with him. We need somebody in authority. And it's like,
the man who's been shouting this entire time. Yeah.
The poor old Burglecut. Well, I say poor old. He's not poor old. He's a bastard. But Burglecut gets volunteered as well.
I love that I don't know whether it is intentional. I think it's intentional that he is just sweating all the time.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
All the time. And of course because he was like, no, Vonkar's our greatest warrior, he can't go. And then of course when he's told he's got to go, he's like, oh, Vonkar can come, please.
You're coming with me.
So on the road, the elder asks Willow, he's like, I need to ask you about the finger thing. He's like, well, what finger were you gonna? Did you have a different answer? He was like, yeah, I had a thought. And he was like, it was a stupid thought. And he was like, no, tell me. He was like, what was it going to be? Which finger were you going to show? And he shows that it would have been his own finger. And of course the elder's like, yeah, that was the right answer. You lack faith in yourself. I mean, the answer is obvious. Everyone should have known the answer to this, but
yeah, your children would have known.
yeah, your children would be apprentices by now. And yeah, he says, you lack faith, but you have the potential. You've got great potential, but you need to listen to your heart first, basically. And he gives Willow the acorns, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, acorns? And he's like, yeah, they're magic. He's like, you can throw them at stuff and they'll turn to stone. He's like, okay.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. but yeah, he's trying to get, as you said, Willow. He's trying to get Willow to come out of his shell and to believe in himself.
Yeah.
Which appears to be his biggest problem. Willow talks to his kids. They're like, "Are you scared of being torn apart by rabid animals?" And
everything is it? They're talking. He says, "This is was I was thinking these fairies. Aren't you scared of fairies? They'll put you asleep for 100 years." And then he says, "What about dragons?" And they go on and
trolls
and trolls. Trolls will skin you alive and take off your face. And you can see like Willow almost like swallowing. It's like, no, it's fine.
No, it's all right. It's all the things he just hadn't even considered.
Yeah, and incidentally, all the things he meets as well.
Yes, yeah. But in any case, he says goodbye to his kids and to his wife. And now he has the baby strapped to his back. He's the protector of the child. And he he reassures his wife. He says, I'll be back. Don't worry, I'll be back before you know it.
She gives him a token of her braid. She
acts like he's a fucking dead man. She's like, "Oh well, I'll light a fire for you, keep you warm." Yeah. She looks devastated. She's like, "I have lost my husband."
I won't marry for a year, okay?
yeah. But yeah, so off they head. The elder throws the bird into the air, doesn't he? The dove, and he's like, "Oh, the dove will
follow the bird.
Follow the bird." Yeah.
Bird goes back. The bird flies back to the village.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Ignore the bird, follow the river."
Let's go back to the village.
Yeah, because his what's his name's like thrilled, isn't he? He's like, "Oh, he's gone back to the village. That's fine. We'll just go back there." I'm like, no. So yeah, off they go on their grand adventure, and you do kind of feel like a little sorry for Burglecut. Is it Burglecut or
Burglecut? Yeah,
Burglecut, because he does have a walking stick and stuff, and it's like he probably was the worst equipped for this task.
Yeah, he's probably never walked anywhere in his life.
No, exactly.
Like me, really.
Willow stops them quite quickly, and he's like, "Oh no, the baby's sick," because the baby's like crying and whatever. And of course Burglecut's like, "She's not sick, like that, don't be silly." And of course he gets puke right over his face, like immediately.
But apparently so that was, I think they said that was real, and it was in like they didn't plan it, sort of thing. But I think what
really
happened, that puke is clearly not that from a baby.
I was gonna say.
I think what happened was, so I think it was the motion, because they've all got quite wobbly walks. The motion of the baby made it a little sick, so it genuinely did grow up.
Okay, right.
And I think they then thought, "Oh, that's good. We'll leave that in, but we'll exaggerate it." So I think they yes, it did happen, but also they exaggerated it.
Right. Meanwhile, in the evil castle of evilness, Bavmorda is telling Sorsha that she's useless. Like, "You're useless. I told you to bring back a child, not a dead nursemaid or whatever."
Yeah.
Why am I forgetting the bloody name now?
The baby.
No. The
Deaf dogs.
Oh my god, that's
bad.
Well, like now I've forgotten. Midwife. Jesus Christ, what's going on today?
It's catching, dude. It's catching.
It is catching. But right at that moment, Kale, Skull Dude, bursts through the door.
Played by the amazing Pat Roach.
And he just like turns up and he's like, oh yeah, I just fucking destroyed the castle at Galadoom or whatever.
It's
like, oh, I'm back from casually
the entire castle and its people. Basically.
Back from casually single-handedly destroying a castle and murdering everybody there.
Yeah.
And yeah, and she's like, oh, good, well done. Now I've got another task for you. You know, you're gonna help my daughter find a baby. And I just imagine the face he pulls immediately under that mask.
Yeah, I mean, he does sort of.
He raises the mask after, and he's like, the prophecy, the baby from the prophecy.
Yeah, and you definitely get the impression that he's not impressed with this new job.
No, especially when the sorcerer's like, I don't need his help, I can do it without him, and she's like, you're going together. This is now a buddy cop movie.
I'd watch that.
So would I.
The buddy cop movie.
Now, the wizard man.
The druids.
Is it the druid? No. The well, I'm calling him Matt. I'm calling him a wizard only because he has a massive beard.
Yeah.
Her right hand man.
Yeah, they're druids.
Are they druids? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's like your daughter will betray you.
Yeah, I've seen the signs.
I've seen it. And now, what amazes me is that she completely buys into this fucking prophecy of the child.
Yeah.
But does not believe for 1 second any other prophecy. Only that one. She's like, no, I trust my daughter more than anything in the world. That will never happen.
He says, I trust her loyalty more than I trust yours.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, well, it is a mother-daughter thing, so you think maybe...
Maybe.
That,
I just feel like a character that's fearful of prophecy would be fearful of prophecy.
Yeah, but she's also, you know...
I think she does look down at her daughter and think she's kind of useless anyway.
She's a I cannot get the word out. She's a nutter.
Yes, a nutter.
So she's clearly, you know, got the whole prophecy thing as well, but she also is over sort of confident in her own power and her own ability to command.
Yeah, that's very true. On the road, they hear the approach of horses and dogs, and they kind of hide in the overgrowth.
Yep. They wait for the Dark Riders to ride on.
Well, they overhear the conversation, don't they, of the Dark Riders, because they say that the baby's not at the village, but a bunch of them are on the road somewhere, so they know that they're looking for them. Then they're like, well, we'll just have to stick to the woods. I think it's the warrior guys like, well, we'll just stick to the woods. It'll be fine. You know, we'll figure it out. And so on they go. And I mean, God, I know we've said this a few times, but the scenery in all of these shots, these walking shots, because there's quite a lot of walking shots in this movie, but my God, every shot is just gorgeous scenery.
Yeah, oh Christ, what's the now I'm going to forget the job title. The guy who the guy who goes out and scouts, the location scout. The location scout did a real fucking good job in this movie.
Oh yeah, oh God, yeah.
I mean, you get those wonderful waterfalls.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's several beautiful waterfalls in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, a real come to Wales, come to New Zealand shot stuff.
Yeah. So ultimately, they decide to stop and make a fire underneath some cages. There's some dead skeletons.
We haven't mentioned Migosh, who goes with them as well, who's kind of
other Willow.
Pointless. Yeah, I don't quite understand. I don't know whether maybe there was he had more in another cut.
Yeah, it does feel like his character was meant to do something.
And you know, clearly he's his friend, and he does feel like he's probably Willow's only friend. But he kind of feels like a third wheel.
He does, yeah. So they hear noise and they're kind of spooked, which causes Willow to back up against one of the cages, only to be grabbed. And I don't know how they didn't see him in there, but it works quite well. It's effective enough. And of course, the man is Val Kilmer, who tells him, he's like, give me some water or you'll die.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first time we hear the word peck.
Yeah.
When referring to their
they're
race.
they're called, is it Elwyn? I'm sure they call themselves the Elwyn.
Yeah, and he says, give me some water or you'll die. But of course, once he lets him go, there's no reason to give him the water. He's like, you should have held on to Willow and been like, you guys bring me water or I'll kill him. But instead of that, he lets Willow go. And he's like, you promise you'll get me water? Like, no. But yeah, they start. I love when they start talking about him, and one of them's just like, he's looking right at us. He's just sat there with a grin on his face.
And I love Burglecut's immediately like, give the baby to him. He's a daikini. He's fine.
Yeah, he's like one of their kind. It's fine.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we need to. And then one of them's like, well, we need to give it to somebody. And Matt Morgan's like, I'm somebody. And of course he knows how to play Burglecut immediately, because he's just like, he starts agreeing with everything Burglecut's saying. He's like, yeah, you need to get back to the village, Burglecut. Like, you need to look after yourself. Like, don't worry about the baby. Yeah, don't let Willow talk to you like that. And he's like, oh, it's a very bad idea to keep going. Very bad idea. But yeah, it's I mean, we talked quite a bit about Val Kilmer last week, obviously with his passing, but I think this is one of my favorite performances of his.
Yeah.
I think he is wonderful in this.
Because he's a true, out for himself bastard character with a heart of gold in the end,
Well, and also quite mad.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely mad. He's not just called Mad Market. Like, he genuinely is like, he seems to have moments where he says things he doesn't even remember saying, and he's just like, well, what did I do that? What are you talking about?
Yeah. And I love the fact that when you first see him, he's got like manky teeth, and he's dirty, and he's got like more stubble. And as the movie goes on, the stubble seems to sort of recede a little.
He seems to get a bit prettier, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like his eyebrows seem to get like more shaped, and his hair gets better, and it's like, sure, okay. Well, it's that whole oh no, the girl's wearing dungarees and glasses. Isn't she hideous?
Yeah. Oh, what was that movie?
She's All That.
She's All That. Yeah, it was
10 Things I Hate About You?
She's All That's the movie
She's All That.
She's All That is the movie I'm thinking of, because I remember seeing that in the cinema and being like, she's not ugly.
Yeah.
At all. She's clearly gorgeous.
Yeah.
And you're right, it is one of those like, oh, let's give her a makeover, and then they just take her glasses off and they're like, gorgeous. Okay, that's all that took. Like, put a comb for her hair and brush her hair, and that was it.
Rachel E. Cook, that's the name of the actress. I can't remember her name. Which is funny because Kevin Pollak is in that movie too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Burglecut says, well, if you're going to look after the baby, I'm going home. Like, we're done with this. Like, if you insist on going, then you keep going, but we're going back. And of course he tells Willow, he's like, by the time you get out of here, he's like, oh yeah, just remember that the whole time you're here, your fields aren't getting planted. Yeah. And he says, like, that land will be mine. Like, I guarantee you. But yeah, they start to head off. Of course, Mad Morgan's like, oh, no, Burglecut, let me out. I'll look after the baby, I promise. Other Willow decides to stay. And yeah, so it kind of leaves them just the three of them with Mad Markin, and he says, that was really stupid of you, Peck. And Willow starts to stand up for himself.
Yeah.
And he says, "Don't call me Peck." And of course, you know, Morgan's like, Peck, 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 Peck. And then Willow's like, I'm a magician. I've got these.
You know, I'm a sorcerer.
A sorcerer, sorry.
Yeah.
And of course, he brandishes the acorns. And he's like, if I throw these at you, you'll turn to stone. And Morgan's like, oh, I'm so scared. And he's like,
oh my god, it's a peck with an acorn.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, I won't waste it on you, you know. And yeah, so later that evening, obviously they have food at the camp. Obviously, Mad Markin's just kind of left there, stuck.
Yeah.
But the following morning, Mad Markin obviously, I think he wakes them up, doesn't he? He just starts shouting at them, and yeah, so they're talking when
I think a galloping horse.
Yeah, Ryder approaches. Yeah,
Ryder goes by, and they're like, "Oh, quick, we can leave it with that person, whoever that person was." Oh no, he's gone.
Yeah, but he's gone in a way that says, "I'm being chased." yeah.
And I love this bit where he's got so Willow's finally going to give Muddigan some water.
Yeah.
And he's got the cup, and he every time he sort of approaches Muddigan, something goes past, or
he gets distracted every time.
He gets distracted, and the cup goes away. It's like, oh, what's that? And you hear the approaching army.
And it is an army.
Yeah, it's a full-on army. And what is it? Muddigan says something along the my guess, like 200 horses and 1,000 fools or something like that. He says.
Yeah.
And I think he's just getting to
he's like millimeters away from catching it.
Yeah, and of course the new horseman turns up, and it completely.
It just slips through his fingers, but I love that he licks his fingers of like whatever little splashes were on there.
Completely over-exaggerated movement with his fingers as he just brings them in and sucks at them. It's really good.
But of course Willow's like, "Hey, army, they'll have this kid."
You sort of part of you think just like, hang on a minute, right? So you're not going to leave him with the criminal in the cage, but you're willing to give the baby to
an army, an army clearly on the march somewhere to do battle.
Men, sure, that's really thoughtful.
And I love Willow walks up to one of them and he's just like, "Hi, we found this baby in our village. Could you look after her, please? Like, could you just take her off our hands?" And of course he removes his helm and he says, "You know, we're going into battle, little one. And this is no place for a girl." And Mad Markin, of course, quips and he's like, "Oh, they probably think you're a woman."
Yeah, he says, "I thought you were a girl, Alric."
Yeah. And of course it turns out they know each other, and have a seemingly friendly conversation to begin with, at the very least. And they talk about the fact that the evil witch, the evil queen, is kind of marching and trampling everything in sight, or at least her men are. So they're off to do battle. Mad Markin says, hey, I could come with you, let me out. And he reminds him, I can't remember what he says, because he says what he did, doesn't he?
Yeah, because you only fight for yourself, and that he calls him a thief.
That's right. I thought he listed crimes, but yeah, okay, he must just say that.
But he does say that I can't remember the name of the place, but it's the place that Keel has just destroyed. And that, I think, is supposed to be where Kilmer's character is from.
Oh, okay.
So basically his home has just been destroyed, and that's why he gets more agitated. And he's like, I will, let me out. Let me fight. You need me. And he's like, nope.
And
you've dug your hole. Get in it.
Yeah. And the whole army leaves. And then there's just a really awkward moment where like the army's gone and the two of them are just stood there with Mad Martigan and they're just like looking at Mad Martigan like, fuck. Like, you know, really got no choice. And he gets to the point where his mate's like, yeah, I probably believe that Mad Martigan would look after the kid. He'll probably be all right. Yep. I believe him. Doesn't he say, he's like, oh, I believe him, Willow.
Yeah. He's got it on his face.
He's got it on his face. Even though we were just told that he's a murderer and a thief, I'm sure he's fine. And I think Mad Martigan does a pretty good job of, you know, he puts on the emotional eyes and he's like, I can't leave me here to die, and no one's
to cry and stuff.
Yeah.
he like tries to make out that he's like a victim of circumstance and stuff. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And as soon as he's released, he I love they cut the bottom of the lock to the cage and he falls out. And he just immediately rolls towards his mate and just grabs him and picks him up. He's like, I feel better.
Which is apparently ad-libbed. That wasn't in the script.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he swings. I know it's not the actual child, but he swings that child around so violently fast.
Yeah, that's a broken neck right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of Kilmer's dialogue was ad-libbed.
It's great. Some of his dialogue's amazing. And I love when Willow's like, you know, starts giving him all of the things for the baby, and he's like, oh, you know, here's milk. Here's her milk bladder, and he's like, is there any milk in there? He's like, it's for the baby. And he's like, I wouldn't steal from a baby. And the way he says it with such disgust, like how dare you even consider such a thing?
Yeah, it's like, sure, of course you would steal from a baby. We believe you.
But yeah, he learns that his name is Willow, not Peck, because he calls him Peck, and he's like, I'm Willow, not Peck. You get the impression that Peck is an offensive term.
Yeah, it's clearly
derogatory.
Call them,
yeah,
you know, a slight.
Yeah. So Mad Martigan heads off, and Willow, you know, emotionally says goodbye to the baby. And you know, I think our criticism of Warwick Davis aside, he does a pretty good job in places of emoting. Yeah. And you do get the impression he really cares for this child and whatnot. Which I think is how it works, because it is kind of awkward as some of his acting is, and I do think it's worse early on. I don't know in which order they filmed this, but it feels like the earlier scenes, he's way more awkward than most of the later scenes. He seems to get better.
Yeah, I'm not sure what order they filmed it in either, but it does fit. Certainly feels like that. But I mean, it could also be the fact that that's what they wanted from him.
Yeah. It works. It does work for the film, for sure.
I know it's a Ron Howard directed movie, but I know George Lucas had a lot, of involvement in it, and I know Lucas is famous for taking the wrong take.
Yes,
there's a number of actors and Carrie Fisher said a lot that there were so many better takes that could have been used in the movie that would have been better, but for some reason Lucas focused on one that he got. That was what he went with, and I don't know, maybe some of that happens with Davis. I don't know.
Quite possibly. So I love we get the shot of Willow and his friend walking back to the village. And they're like, "Oh, we're heroes," and they start saying, "Oh yeah, we're." They're like, "Well, where's our medals?" And they're going to give us medals. And then you get that great moment where Willow kind of slows down and starts looking a bit concerned, and he's like, "Mate, should I have left that newborn baby with that psychopath? Do you think that was a bad call?"
Yeah.
And his mate's like, "Yeah, it's nothing to worry about." But of course, as soon as they say that. We see the baby being carried by like a hawk, and a little man who is riding the hawk.
I stole that baby.
They stole the baby. And then of course, as they try to run after it, they're shot by tiny arrows. And yeah, there's an entire tribe of mini people.
Brownies.
Even more mini people, we should say, because they're like really tiny.
Yeah.
They're human proportioned, but very small.
Yeah, they're
like regular human proportioned, but tiny.
They're brownies. They're little fairy folk.
Little fairy folk, yes.
And they all look massively savage.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think especially these days, people forget that fairy folk was commonly used, or certainly in the UK, was commonly used to fucking cover a multitude of creatures, like pretty much anything. Anything supernatural at one point could have been they're not just like pretty fairy. They could be hideous creatures. And all sorts of stuff.
Red caps. I mean, red caps are fucking hideous. They're like, they literally kill people, murder people, and dip their hats in blood. Yeah, so very folk.
So these guys definitely they definitely fall under the fairy folk umbrella.
Yeah, I do like that. The whole general thing about fairies are great and they're small and cute and they do good things. It's like some of them do, not all of them.
Traditionally it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, there's a weird sort of thing with fairies taking off children and tricking people into doing awful things or dying because they're sort of they tend to be sort of mischievous in a sort of way that humans don't really get, and they don't get humans very well, so they think all sorts of weird stuff is fun.
But Willow and his friend are beset upon by the fairy folk who tie them down. They're knocked out, and I love when Willow comes to. He's like, where's the baby? And one of them's like, shut up or I'll break your nose.
Yeah, Frangine is on that. We used to at my school we used that for ages. We in this you sort of go to each other, shut up or I'll break your nose.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
I think they do a really good job of like compositing these guys in for the most part. I think they look really good. You can tell, but
the blue screen in general,
it's some of the better blue screen I've seen, I will say. Some shots more than others, but yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job. Willow, of course, breaks free as they do
cut them free. They don't break. He doesn't break free.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because the fairies turn up.
The fairies. Oh, is that why they cut them free? Okay. Yeah.
She tells them to cut them free.
I watched it yesterday. I've already forgot. But yeah, so the fairies turn up and say they're glad to meet Willow. And they say that the baby's very special.
Yeah, and he says, "How did you know my name's Willow?" And his Shalindria says that Allura told me. Yeah. There's actually a mistake at one point.
And the brownies have been searching for the baby for that reason.
There was a mistake at the crossroads apparently.
Right.
When Willow goes off and gives Bardigan the baby, he calls her name. And then they realised during the cutting that he didn't actually know the name at that point.
Oh.
So they had to
cut something in.
They had to ADR it so that he doesn't say the baby's name.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting. So she says to Willow that he needs to take her wand to the sorceress Raziel.
Yeah.
And that she will guide them basically to the kingdom, and that they'll find a good king and queen that will basically raise the child. Willow kind of argues, he's like, "Yo, you need a warrior for this job." And he's like, I'm short. He's like, even for my race, I'm short. Like I'm not the warrior of my race. They all fucked off back home ages ago.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, they're like, no, you're the chosen one. She's like, you must fulfill the destiny, and that's it. She does get like really uncomfortably close to them when she starts talking as well. It's like quite intimidating.
She's really cool actually. She's this almost sort of big spiritual, spirit like creature that comes down, and she gets larger as she's coming down towards them, and she almost envelops them. Yeah,
it gets quite almost scary because she gets like huge. It's like, oh my god.
And, she sort of disappears for a bit.
Yeah,
and they're like, is that it? Is she gone? And then she comes back like is like almost like a big giant head.
Yeah, and it keeps getting bigger as she talks.
Yeah.
Because she says the baby must survive, and she must, bring down Bavmorda. So if you don't, something along the lines of if you don't succeed, then all people of good heart will suffer. Yeah, and she specifically mentions his village as well, and his kids and stuff. It's like this will affect you as well.
Yeah,
it's not just a human issue. It's gonna be a dwarf issue too. So of course Willow is now gonna do that. So they get up the next day, I guess, determined, and
he basically says goodbye to Migosh, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Yeah, well, he says it's time to go home, and Migosh is like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And he's like, yeah, not you, not me, you. Like, you go home.
Yeah. You're not cut out to be my Sam.
Yeah. You're basically just another version of me. It just doesn't benefit us in any way. I always thought he should have been like, look, can you go back and just make sure that my land remains my land while I'm gone?
That would have been.
Could you do that for me?
Could you just plant my crops? Would that be all right?
Yeah, just plant the crops. Do my job for me while I'm out here. So of course Willow heads off. Not on his own, though. He has some fairy folk with him.
Yeah, Rule and Frangin.
What are their names?
Rule and Frangin.
Okay, they are fantastic. These two.
I love Rule and Frangin. Are brilliant.
They are.
They are clearly those characters that you either love or hate.
I like them a lot.
I do, and I think it helps that Rick Overton and Kevin Pollak are like really good comedic actors,
and they've got really good chemistry with each other as well.
Yeah. There's apparently a story that during when they were filming in California, during breaks they'd go off and they'd go and improv at a club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they'd go and improv at a club, and one particular night, somebody got up and started riffing with them. It only turned out to be Robin Williams.
Oh, wow!
And apparently Kevin Pollak just said, I pretty much just stood there and watched him. Just let him do his thing.
So they tell Willow not to play with the wand. They're like, you're rubbish. You cannot touch this wand. You heard the massive head fairy lady. She told you it's for great sorcery and it's very powerful. It's not for you. Willow, of course, asks them if they know where they're going, and they're like, yeah, of course, because they start arguing in which direction they're even heading. But ultimately, during a storm, they end up coming upon a human settlement.
Big inn, isn't
it? Yeah, it's effectively a big inn full of drunk, massive people, from his perspective. So yeah, Willow walks through the bar. All of all the fantasy bad guys are all in one location.
Yeah.
All the stereotypical D&D bar folk are here.
Mm-hmm. All the heavies. Like punching each other and
just for no reason. They're like Klingons. Yeah, they're just like fighting each other for no reason, and
And I do like the reaction to him is quite sort of visceral. They're all like, "Oh my god, it's a peck."
Yeah,
I mean they basically treat him like he's infectious. Like, no, quick, get him away. They're all like throwing food at him, and it's like, can you please spare some milk? Nope.
Yeah.
Have a cabbage.
Well, he finally hides under the stairs, doesn't he? And he's kind of like he takes a seat, but then of course the fairy folk start fucking around. One of them sees a girl he fancies, and he wants the fairy the love potion, yeah. But of course he ends up covered in fairy dust.
Well, it's actually part of the potion because it's.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's one of the ingredients, isn't it?
Brandon's got it around his neck, and Rule basically is tugging it, and it, as he's trying to pull it off of him, a little bit comes out, and it coats him, and then he sees the cat.
And it's made better because he's got the mouse hat. He's got the mouse cap on. Yeah. So he's like the size of a mouse, wearing a mouse cap, and he sees the cat, and he's like, "You're so beautiful."
You've got wonderful eyes. And then, of course, you get the little person falls into beer.
Yeah. And then basically it's like, I have a swimming pool of beer now. Yeah. Like, it's the best thing ever.
It's right up there when this comes in pints.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Willow is just terrified from the fighting going on. And eventually he kind of like falls backwards through one of the walls, which is like made of wood.
It's like a weird trapdoor or something. I'm not sure what it is. But...
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether some nails gave way or something. It did some weird thing. But yeah, it's hard to understand how that works or whether it was a trapdoor.
Some sort of chute or something. I don't know.
Maybe. But he ends up in a room with two women, one of which is relatively familiar. Yes, it's Mad Mardigan dressed up as a woman. Yeah. Of course he's like, Willow's like, I trusted you, how dare you, like, what are you doing? And Mad Mardigan's like, oh, like, what are you talking about? Like, just leave me alone, what are you doing here? But of course
the brownie's like, hey, I know him. We stole the baby from him.
Yeah.
And I like the woman's like basically trying to disguise him
as a woman because her husband Lug. He's called Lug.
Her husband's called Lug.
Yeah, and he looks like a Lug,
He is a Lug. Yeah,
he's a Lug. But of course he quickly chucks a shawl over his face to kind of cover his face. And starts acting as feminine as he could with the baby. He picks up the baby and whatnot. And Lug is like totally into her.
Yeah. In the most broadly comedic way, he's like, "Oh, I fancy a bit of you, ho ho." It's
like your wife's right there, Lug.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's
like
really
like Lug, you came in here thinking she was cheating on you, and now you're all too happy to do the same.
And it doesn't even say, do you want a mate? It's like, okay. Can we have not written this a little bit better?
Yeah. But then the soldiers burst in. They burst in, grab everyone in the room, take them out, and say, all right, start grabbing the babies. And we see the sorcerers there. They're here to find the babies. So, of course, she asks Mad Mardigan, are you the mother of this child? And he puts on the voice, he's like, yes.
Yeah. And it's like, immediately, so it's just like, yeah, all right, sure. It's like,
yeah.
So the whole, are there any women here today?
Well, he's basically, it's made worse because she takes her helm off, doesn't she? And he's like, oh, you're beautiful. Yeah. It's like immediately the character just drops. But yeah, she's like, you're no woman. And of course she pulls the shore off.
She pushes her foot.
Yeah, he pushes her away, doesn't he? Yeah. Which is when she takes the helm off. Yeah.
Yeah, you're awfully strong for a woman.
Yeah. But of course, she pulls the shore off and she's like, you're not a woman. And then of course Lug on the other side of the room is like, not a woman.
Yeah. And I like he says something, have you met Lug?
Yeah, yeah. He just like slams one of them in the face. Yeah.
Apparently, so you know when she walks into the thing, she puts her sword in the floor.
Yeah.
Apparently, in the first take of that, she stuck it in the foot of a stuntman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she injured a stuntman.
Oh, God.
Oh, bugger.
So, of course, they escape onto a horse and cart. They jump out the window onto a horse and cart.
He runs out with the...
Willow chases, yeah.
Willow's on the second floor, and he drops into the cart just about.
Yeah, yeah.
And this bit is really good. The cart chase is...
It's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool.
And I can't tell, but I'm sure in a few shots it does look like Val Kilmer is actually racing this goddamn thing down the hill.
I think he did a lot of the stunt stuff.
Did he? Right. It does look like him. If not, they found someone reasonable that in the DVD version I've got, I couldn't necessarily tell.
He did most of it, but there is things like when he's being dragged along the back.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
So that with that, there is a little platform that he stood on, and there's a stuntman's legs behind.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so there's a nice little trick there.
Well, I do love this cart chase. The fight on the back of the cart while the cart's going is fantastic. And then you've got Willow climbing forward to try and grab the reins of the horse. It's really well executed, well shot.
The brownies falling all over the place in the back as well, and they're trying to hit people. It's great.
You got one of them throwing up as well. He's like, "Oh, no more beer!" Like,
that's the beer for
this
you.
was a mistake. But eventually, of course, the cart hits a log in the road, and sends everyone flying. And then one of the wheels falls off, and already basically explodes, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very tense scene. Everything's coming apart. One of the brownies is hanging off the side of the cart while one of the other ones trying to help him up. Yeah. It's really good. It's a really good scene.
It's really cool. And I do like the I saw a little clip of them doing this scene, and with the brownies. They made a big set for the brownies of the cart. And I like there's they're rolling around sort of thing, and there's a guy in the foreground holding a giant apple. He just throws this apple in at them. It's a really cool little sort of thing that I found really funny.
But yeah, eventually they do manage to stop their pursuers. But of course, enough damage is done to the cart that the cart's pretty much knackered. Martigan sends it on ahead anyway, I guess, to throw them off the scent for a bit. Mm-hmm. And he says, "Now we stop," and they basically hide, and allow the horses to basically run past them. And of course, you got the drunk brownie kind of stuck in the middle.
Yeah. Get out of the road. They do nothing but argue, but I love his genuine look of concern when he's in the middle of the road about to get run over. He's like,
"Yeah,
out of the road."
So Willow asks Martigan for help, and he's like, "What do you need my help for? You're a great sorcerer. You don't need my help." And of course, eventually their argument is kind of broken up when they hear barking. They kind of take cover, and Willow does have a moment with Mad Martigan. He's like, I'm sorry, I got angry. He's like, I overstepped. I'm sorry. But Mad Martigan, I think, has a similar moment to Willow, which I think goes back to your point about the baby somehow putting a spell on people somewhat.
Yeah.
Where he immediately falls in love. When he looks in her eyes, he's like, I love this child. I need to protect this child.
Yeah.
From that moment on...
She clearly has +20 in charm.
Yes, yeah, for sure. There's some kind of protective instinct that seems to kick in. And yeah, so now... Mad Martigan, as much as he can, tries to fight it. He's like, no, I'm going, but he just can't. But yeah, and he's like, well, you know, maybe I'll help you some of the way, you know. And he's like, you know, go get me some food. I'm hungry. Like, you know.
Yeah, he says to the bunnies, "Go, you two, go get me some food. I'm hungry."
What does he call? I can't remember what he calls them.
I'm not afraid of you. And it's like,
So meanwhile, Kale returns, and the Queen's like, "Have you found the baby yet?" And he's like, "No, not yet. I haven't yet." She's way nicer to him than her daughter.
Yeah,
way nicer. She does give him a slap, but
I was gonna say she does slap him.
But she's not like, "You're fucking useless." Like, you know, I guess she appreciates his, you know, ability to murder castles full of people enough that she's not going to tell him he's useless.
I mean, she can probably squish him with her power, but he is a big dude.
Yes, for sure. Mad Martigan and Willow have a moment later that evening where Willow's like, you know, she's adorable, and he's like, yeah, when she's quiet. And he's like, well, you know, she's a great queen or princess, I guess. And Mad Martigan's like, sure, and you're a great sorcerer. And what does he say? He's like the Emperor of Kashmir or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, I do think for the most part that Warwick Davis improves around this point in the movie.
I think it's mostly the scenes where he's being full of self-doubt.
Yes.
They go on too long.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just almost like he's just whining, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, I totally agree. I said before we went on air, I think Willow is the most annoying character in Willow.
Yeah,
which is it's a shame, but
it's his movie, but he is the most annoying character in it.
I love the shot though when Mad Martigan falls asleep and Willow's trying the wand for the first time.
Yeah.
And he ends up in the tree, and it wakes Mad Martigan up, and he's like, "Willow, where are you?" And he's like, "Oh, there you are. You're up there." He's like, "Oh, there you are."
Yeah. Doesn't like ask how he got up there or anything.
No, there's no question how he got up there.
It's just like a normal occurrence. It's like, yeah, sure, he's up a tree. Okay.
Yeah. On the road, they have an argument where Mad Martigan's giving her black root. He's like, "Oh, I found some black root." He's like, "You can't feed her black root." And it's like, no offense, Willow, but it's not even your race. Like, how do you know how to feed a human child? You're a dwarf. Like,
yeah,
dwarf children and human children are not the same thing.
Mother of two, you do not give them black root. It's like, I was raised on black root.
Yeah, and then I love when Willow throws it away. He talks to the baby, and he's like, "Did you see what he did? He stole our black root." He's like, "Don't worry, I'll get some more."
We'll get some more, yeah. In that bloody, they're in that, in the front of that waterfall. It's an amazing waterfall.
Yeah. But ultimately, they get to the water and they see a village off in the distance. Of course, the brownies say, "Hey, that's where Raziel lives. That's where we need to get to, and we just need to get a boat over there." Yeah. So they head to I guess it's like a small little fishing area.
Yeah. And I like that. You know, it's clearly been wrecked and
yeah, it's clearly been abandoned for quite a while.
But I love the fact that. The first thing Monaghan basically does is start looking through, you know, baskets and boxes and turning over stuff. And I like it. He's just like trying to find whatever food, maybe bits, and he finds a broken sword, and it's like, yep, got a weapon now.
Yep, that'll do for now.
It's very cool. At least, you know, now I've got it. It's a broken sword, but sure, it works. It'll do a job.
Yeah. So Willow heads out on his own to the island to find Raziel.
And you do sort of think, so at this point, Mardigan's off. He's gone off. Mardigan said, you know, bye. This is where we part.
Yeah. He did say earlier. I think we missed it. He said he'd take him as far as the river, didn't he?
Yeah, but or
the water.
Willow's like, okay, I'm gonna get on this boat and go off to the island to see Raziel. You two stay in to protect the baby. It's like, Really?
Yeah. They were the ones that stole the baby.
To 2 brownies. This is not a good idea.
No, it's not the best idea. But
I mean, clearly they're like, we will protect it with our lives. Like, of course you will. You're gonna get squished.
Willow finds Raziel, however, not in human form. I'm not sure what she is. Possum? Okay. I was going to say unidentified mouse rat-like creature. Yes, rodent.
No, she's a possum.
And very cute. And I think they do a very good job with this little puppet thing of moving the mouth and stuff. It looks really good.
Yeah.
There's enough movement in the head and the ears to make it, it works quite well.
Yeah.
So she basically says, "Oh, there was a spell put on me. The evil queen put a spell on me, which is why I now look like this." And Willow says, "Hey, I've got the wand. This is the wand for you, when they get back to shore, Raziel's like, "Well, you need to use the wand to turn me back into
like, you. Well, God, then off you go. Use the wand." There's like,
and this is like the water, but way more infuriating. This goes on forever, like him constantly trying and failing, or getting distracted, or not believing in himself, and
yeah.
So I think the first time is because of horses, right? They hear horses approaching.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it's soldiers, and they've caught Mad Markin already. He's been caught.
Yeah.
The brownies are immediately like, "I knew he was a traitor. He's with them." And it's like, he's clearly not with them.
He does say sorry. He says.
Yeah, that's true.
But what I think is funny is like, why is he just in his pants? What did they do to him?
He has like whip marks on his back as well, which so
true.
I'm not sure whether he was tortured. I always thought they implied that they tortured him a bit to try and find where
that is true.
So so they quickly grab the baby and also Raziel. They put Raziel into a bag. And of course I love when Sorsha turns up. She's like, "Lose your skirt."
Yeah.
And he's like, "I've still got it where it counts," and she just kicks him in the fucking head. And then like they're like, "All right, bring them all. They're all coming with us." Apart from the brownies, they escape.
Yeah, they're underneath one of the sort of tents, aren't they? When it gets pulled over. The chemistry between Kilmer and Wally is amazing, and you can definitely see, why they ended up married, even if it was, not the longest of marriages, but he was completely smitten with her, and you can totally tell.
Oh, it's very believable in the movie, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I saw an interview with him where he was talking about one of the scenes where he had to kiss her, and he said it was really awkward and stuff. And he said he kept getting distracted and had to do it again. And I think, oh really? You got distracted and you had to kiss Joanne Wally again, did you? Really? Of course you did. It was by accident. You couldn't. It was a mistake.
So Willow and Mad Markin are dragged behind the cart as they're taken. You do get a bit with Sorsha when she rides up alongside Mad Markin, and she's like, "What are you staring at?" And he's like, "Your leg. I'd like to break it."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, you'd find that difficult being, seeing as though you're a slave at the moment." And he says, "I hate that woman." Like he says to Willow that he absolutely hates her. So they Sorsha meets back up with Kale and says, "Oh, I found her. I did it," because I guess it became a competition between the two of them, really.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
it does feel like that.
So they make camp, and Willow still has the wand. He's
another time when you think, he's carrying a stick. Maybe take it away from him.
Yeah, I guess they just see him as a dwarf and they don't think much more than that.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And again, now caged, Raziel's like, hey, you just fucking turn me into a human, you idiots.
Yeah, fucking get on with it.
Like, this movie is like 2 hours long, and I swear it's only an hour longer because Willow won't fucking do this.
Yeah, it does.
Like, for fuck's sake, Willow, just do it.
That is a valid criticism. It does feel longer because of that.
Yeah. But yeah, Willow tries, and unfortunately turns her into a crow.
Yeah, he gets distracted by the brownies turning up.
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, we're here. We're here to save you.
Well, they do pick the lock, right? So,
yeah.
You know, they do manage.
They attempt to. I think Mardigan gets it in the end, or do they finish it off? I can't remember which bit. But I know he comes over and says, "Hey, give it here."
Yeah, but that's when he gets the love dust in his eyes, doesn't he?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then they free him. And I think that's when he sees her, and he because they're escaping, he sees her and he's like, oh my god, I love her so much.
Yeah, he goes in, she's asleep on a bed, and the baby.
He just creepily walks up and he's like, I love you.
Yeah.
But of course, they went in there to get the baby, didn't they? But of course,
the baby's next to her. I like the morph scene with
it's really good, yeah.
Yeah, because it's also, you know, it's practical, and you get the morphing as well, which is quite cool. You get the sort of weird looking sort of feathers sprouting out and becomes this sort of like ball of fur feathers, and then the crow emerges. It's very cool.
Yeah. So of course he ends up waking her up because he's like, wake from your sleep, it robs me of your beauty, and she wakes up and obviously immediately pulls a dagger on him.
Yeah.
And he just starts like rambling on her, like, oh, you're my sun and my moon, and
I'll kill you, and he's like, love is stronger than death.
Yeah.
And like he sort of grabs her hand, sort of thing, and he's got it in his chest, and then he sort of lets it go, and she's there with her hand on his chest, and
Kale breaks them up. Otherwise,
she's clearly thinking something too.
Yeah, but of course, when Kale comes in, she realizes the baby's missing, and then she's like, "Oh, this was all a ruse, you son of a bitch."
Yeah.
But as Martin cuts the because he basically cuts the tent down, doesn't he? They do kiss. They do share a kiss.
Yeah.
Martin now has a proper sword, and starts going ham on the soldiers. Does some great swinging the sword around. I love the one when he swings it and then slips over. Yes. I don't know if that was an accident on set, but it's really funny.
No,
it works really well.
It's just to show that he's a bit of a goof and a bit.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was like a goof on set, and then they were like, "Let's keep that in. That's perfect."
It might have.
I don't know, but
I like the fact that at that point Willow does say, "You are a great swordsman," and then he immediately falls over. So that's why I think it was probably more planned than not.
Yeah,
but he does, and it's a very cool looking sword.
It is an amazing looking sword. So he tells Willow to get on the shield, and Martin calls after Saoirse, but once Kale basically shouts after them, they have to go. So they do the living daylights thing down the slopes. It's really well. Again, it's really well directed, though. It's really well put together.
I know so I think. Obviously, some shots are clearly a dummy on them.
Oh yeah,
you know, and some of the other shots are clearly,
especially the really fast ones when it's going towards the village, is like okay.
Yeah, and some of the shot the longer shots are clearly stuntmen because the stunt person that looks like that's dressed as Willow is not very convincing.
No, even the wig's not convincing.
Yeah, but you do get they did have a lot of scenes where they genuinely were sat on the thing as well. So there is a mixture of thing, and I think Warwick Davis had to do the slide a number of times, and he did say it was absolutely petrifying.
Oh God, I can imagine.
And he said he was a nervous wreck by the end of it. because they went down the slope into a frozen lake, or onto a frozen lake, and he said it was he was absolutely terrified.
I always thought the Mad Martigan, obviously, so Willow ends up in the village. Martigan falls off beforehand, and I always thought it was a bit weird. Like, it's a weird beat to do the really overly comical, like National Lampoon's Holiday kind of style. Do you know what I mean? Like when he's like stuck in like he's like a massive like wheel of snow coming down the hill now. It's almost like from a cartoon. But of course now, I guess the snow has woken Mad Martigan up, and he hates Sorsha, can't stand her. And Willow's like, you were like literally reciting poetry to her just now. And he's like, poetry? I hate that woman. She kicked me in the face. And then he's like, I hate her. And then he's like, don't I? He's like, even he's going to start doubting himself now. He's like, maybe I do like her. Shit. But of course, the villagers see that the army, or some of the army, I guess, platoon, are heading down the hill towards the village. So, of course, they all hide in the basement of, I guess, the church or something.
I think it might be another inn. I don't know.
Maybe. There's a lot of inns in this film. And of course, they discover there the army hidden underneath. And the guy from before who left Mad Martigan.
Eric's there.
Eric, is that his name?
Eric.
Thank you. So you get quite a tense scene. The troops are up above, and Willow's trying to keep the baby quiet. Mad Martigan, I think at this point, decides he actually does really fancy her, because he looks up at her and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it wasn't just the love potion stuff. Maybe I genuinely do. Kale heads off to search somewhere else. He's like, tell Sorsha I'm fucking off somewhere else.
North end of the village or something like that.
Yeah. Sorsha finds the trapdoor and heads down, and it's quite a well made shot, because I always thought there was going to be a point where she was going to stop and not come through the whole way, and I always thought it'd be like, it's like, oh, that'd be really awkward if she doesn't, though, because it's like, why wouldn't you check?
And Eric passes a dagger to Martigan.
Yeah.
Who's basically at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah. Of course, he grabs her, puts a knife to her throat, tells the guards to back up, and so he basically starts walking out with her, while Willow takes the child. Eric...
There is one bit we forgot. When they're in the cellar, the baby's crying.
Yeah.
And Roselle comes in and calls.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I like there's one guard who the bird comes in, calls, and then sort of goes out through the sort of front door or something. And there's one guard who sort of like he pops his head back round to the door, and it's like, even though you can't see his face because he's got the mask, the helmet on, there's a real look of, what the hell was that all about?
Yeah.
It's a really cool look. It's a very well done. That actor. It was very good.
So Martigan clears the building of troops, holding her hostage, and Ulrich basically says, like, what is the deal with this baby? And Willow's like, look, she's the princess, like, she's the prophecy. And they kind of make a pact at that point, that he's like, hey, Martigan, do you want to come with me? Are you going to come with me? Let's do this. Martigan leaves with the baby and her, or tries to at the very least. They get her on the horse, and he tells them to throw their weapons down or they'll all die. Willow, meanwhile, jumps on a different horse, baby, wrapped around his waist. Then the troops burst out of the door, don't they? Then at that point, and start attacking the Queen's troops. allowing them to escape. And I love you get Raziel flying with them, and she's like, "This way, as the crow flies."
Yeah.
But yeah, so on the way, Sorsha starts arguing with Martigan, saying, "Oh, you're holding me too tight," and he's like, "Oh, get your hair out of my face," and the typical.
Face all cut it off.
Oh yeah. And then Mad Martin's like, can I ask you something? Did I really say that shit last night? like I have heard that I said some stuff.
Yeah, it's like the drunk boyfriend thing, isn't it? It's like, what did I say last night?
Yeah, and she says, like, well, apparently my power enchanted you and you were helpless against it. And she's like, what happened? He's like, it went away. She's like, it went away?
Yeah.
Which is enough to cause her to, like, hit him and basically get off the horse.
Yeah.
And she runs for a bit, but ultimately, he overpowers her and gets her. Yeah, again, it's teasing a kiss that doesn't happen, because of course in this case Raziel's like, yeah, the troops are still coming. Kale's on his way now, I do like the shot when she runs away, because she kind of like stamps on his toe and runs away. Yeah. There's a real moment where Martigan's like, I might stay and go after her.
Yeah,
because Willow's like, Martigan, we've got to fucking leave,
Yeah, he's going back for her.
Yeah. And she's looking at him, she also has a moment of like, oh, damn, maybe I should go with him,
Yeah. I think that's their sort of weird back and forth is actually really, really well done.
I really like it. I still don't buy her suddenly turning good later on.
No, it does feel a little.
But this goes some of the way. I kind of believe there's something between them.
Yeah.
I don't believe that she's gone from baby murdering to lovely.
Well, she never.
Well, okay, accessory to baby murdering. Sure.
Yeah.
But in any case, they finally make it to the castle. Only to find everybody entombed in stone.
Yeah, stone, I think.
Stone. We'll go with stone. It's like semi-transparent stone.
Yeah. Yeah, the place is Tirasleen is it's cursed and it's overrun with trolls.
Yes. But of course Martigan heads into the armory, or accidentally I guess walks into the armory, and is extremely pleased.
Yeah. I mean, you do sort of think, so this place at some point got overrun, and taken out, and they didn't clean out the armory. That is.
Well, if it's trolls though, do trolls care about the armory?
I guess not.
Like I'm assuming that's why, but.
Well, it always felt to me like
you'd think maybe everyone else knows it's cursed and is terrified to go in it. Like they're the first people that were silly enough to wander in.
I mean, it always felt to me like the Bathmordas people went in, destroyed it, and trolls came. Trolls took it over.
Oh, maybe, maybe.
But I don't know.
Well, Willow.
That's a fucking cool set of armor, and
oh, it's awesome, isn't it? I love it.
The only thing I hate about it is why has it got chainmail on the helmet?
Yeah, that makes no sense at all. I would say everything except the helmet is cool.
I mean, the helmet itself underneath the chainmail is cool. It just doesn't.
It's bizarre.
It doesn't need the chainmail. It's weird, very weird.
Willow turns Raziel into a goat. Another great morph. And then the army turns up, the Queen's army, and of course Martigan manages just in the nick of time to come running out and bar the door.
It's a really cool shot, actually. The him.
Yeah, because it is like literally up to the last second that he manages.
You can see them. They're coming up towards up the path towards the gate, and he's there, really pushing this door. He's even like vertical as he pushes against the wall with his feet.
Do you know another thing I really like about this sequence? You actually see the soldiers make a fucking ram.
Yeah.
They're like, we ain't getting through that. We need to go and cut down a tree and make a ramp. Like, it's believable that it would give them enough time to prepare inside the castle, because we see them. Oh, crap. We've got to cut down a tree to ram this down.
It is what I do find quite funny though is that Morrigan comes out and he says, "Hey Willow, load that catapult. Like, do that." And it's like, he doesn't know how to fucking load a catapult.
Also, he's tiny.
Yeah, I mean he does it.
Yeah, he does, but
sure. It is quite cool though. He does sort of set up crossbows in places, and you know.
Yeah, they do
a number of traps ready.
Yeah, there's like some traps on the floor. There's as you said, the crossbow set up and that kind of stuff.
Bear traps and things like that.
Yeah. Willow is attacked by trolls on one of the walkways. Raziel says to him, use the wand to defeat it, and we get probably the goriest bit of this movie, where this troll's fur burns off and like the skin bursts out, and then it becomes this weird fucking creature,
veiny blob of mass. It's gross.
And then and then like two heads start coming out, which is when Willow's like, "I'll just kick that into the river." That seems to be the solution to all of his problems: is just kick it into the water, whatever it is. If it's a baby, if it's trolls, whatever, just kick it into the water and don't worry about it.
Maybe that's why humans don't like them very much, because their initial instinct is to just chuck things into the
river. Yeah. So Markin is bravely fighting off the troops who make their way through with the battering ram, and you get the great shot of the huge dragon troll thing coming out of the water behind him. Yeah. And of course all the troops are like, holy shit. Martin thinks it's him that they're scared of, and then ultimately turns around to see this creature, which is a bizarre looking thing. It's honestly really cool.
I hate it.
I kind of like it. I think it's really unique and weird, and just like, what is this thing?
It's unique and it's well done. I've never liked the design. I hate the head. It's the weird bulbous bit on top of the head.
I know what you mean.
The whole features for me. I never liked the design of the dragon.
I think I just liked it because it looks so goddamn odd.
It is ugly and
it's just so unique and just strange.
It does get points for the ugly and weird, but I just don't like the design. It's definitely the weird lump on the top of the head that just throws it off.
You think that's the step too far for you?
Yeah, it's just weird.
In any case, it's a wonderful effect.
It is.
And it's very well animated and very well done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the troops start fighting with the I guess fighting both with Martigan's traps, Martigan and the dragon.
Yeah.
Willow obviously has to fend off more trolls. He manages to get some offense in. He stabs one of them with a hot poker, and
so drops one of the acorns, which basically turns a bit of wood into stone. Yes.
So we see that it does indeed have powers. I think it's a really well choreographed, fight scene going on. I love the bit where Martigan's like, "Oh no, I need to save Willow. I'm gonna jump in a catapult and catapult myself over there." And I do like that he does slam into the wall. Like, it's not like he does it perfectly.
Yep.
He does actually kind of faceplant the wall. Conveniently lands on the troll he was after, but still.
But it does work. It's just slapstick enough to work. It's not too over the top.
Martigan takes down the troll and gives Willow a short sword. So now Willow actually has a sword, and Willow looks really pleased about that. He's like, "Yeah, you're trusting me with a weapon. Cool." And he does. He attacks the guards because the guards come in, don't they? He does actually.
He does definitely kill one.
Yeah, I think he might kill them both because they fall down the stairs, don't they? Afterwards, so I think one of them might break their neck on the on the way down.
Is that? I'm going to claim that one.
Yeah, why not? That's
I got
mine.
through there, okay?
Yeah.
Sure, the stairs helped.
Martigan jumps on top of one of the dragon's heads and stabs it in the head. Meanwhile, Sorcer's watching and is just like, "I fucking love you now."
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that's it. And she just starts like snogging him in front of all of her soldiers. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like Kale might have something to say about all of this.
I like one of the trolls gets eaten by the dragon, and then one of them. Now I don't know whether there was a slightly more violent cut, but there's a scene where one of the heads grabs the troll and pulls it, and the other head comes in and goes to bite it, so it looks like it's going to tear it in half. And I don't know whether it's like a misremembering, like whether my brain, because what I watched last night, it cuts away, but in my head I remember it being a little more gory, and I think it's probably a misremembering. Because I don't think they probably would have shown that. Certainly
any version I've seen is the version you saw last night.
Yeah, so it's maybe it's just my brain sort of filling in the gaps. It's my horror brain going, ooh, that was really gory.
It is weird how that happens sometimes. I always remember that with RoboCop. The toxic waste guy at the end.
Yeah.
My childhood memory of that is that he's in it way more as that disfigured, creepy, messed up dude. Yeah. And he's not. Like I'm sure I've seen every bloody cut of that movie by this point, and he's not. He's just not. But my memory is like I filled in some gaps there, and yeah, weird. So one of the dragon's heads explodes because Martin put the sword through. Right. I'm assuming the dragon went to breathe fire and then realized it couldn't.
Yeah, it does. Because, it sort of breathes. It's kind of breathes in because it sort of puffs up, but the flames can't escape it. It goes up.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
Yeah. Well, the other army approaches, of course, leading to Kale having to ride out to fight them. But he does see that Sorsha is fighting alongside Mad Morgan. So he now knows. I love when... I mean, I know Kale's got the baby, and that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
The point is to get the baby. But I love when Kale's like him and like 5 of his like remaining soldiers, and he's like, "No mercy, guys!" And they all go into this massive army. They all die, and he just rides out the other side.
No mercy. That's you. That is okay.
You no mercy.
I'm gonna go over there.
Doesn't apply to me. That applies just to you. Some genuinely good acting from Warwick Davis when he thinks the baby's gone.
This is
really good.
This is genuinely good from him.
Very good.
When he stumbles out with the sword, and falls over. There's real pathos in his.
I think so. Yeah.
In his oh my god, they've taken the baby away. You know, it's really good.
Totally agree. So they, of course, Kale has made it to the castle. Martigan, Sorsha, Willow, and the army are not too far behind. They call her out. Of course, she says, "Well, prepare the ritual," and they end up, I guess, leaving it until. Because it suddenly becomes nighttime, so I'm assuming they just leave it until nighttime before they come out to meet them.
Yeah.
I guess they know they're not going to penetrate the walls that fast, so whatever. She comes out, and I love she does her best like villain work, just like laughing manically from the top of the castle.
Jean Marsh had this amazing way of speaking. There's a sort of weird high-low thing that she does with her voice.
Yes, totally.
Which is really effective. It's like she sort of has this sort of tone that it's like quite low for a bit, and then just sort of raises it up, and it's sort of the end, and it's really
really good. Yeah,
it's weirdly commanding. I like it.
Yeah. But after taunting them for a little while, she starts using a spell, turning them all to pigs.
You're not warriors, you're pigs.
Yeah. Raziel tells Willow to protect himself using a spell, though. And he just keeps chanting while everybody turns into pigs. Except Sorsha, I guess, turns into a pig. We don't see any of that, though. She just kind of falls over in pain.
Well, she says, at first she isn't, and then she screams out, "Mother, no!" And she literally points at her and she goes down. So,
but because you don't see the transformation, I'm like, did you like murder her in that scene? You know, like in that moment, you're like, oh god, what did you do to her? You know.
I guess they didn't want to uglify.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe she was like, maybe she might have just been like, I ain't putting on those fucking prosthetics. Like, fuck off, you know? Because some people are really allergic to that stuff as well, especially back then. So maybe it was like, like practically this ain't gonna work.
Yeah. But it's really effective. It's
great.
Quite horrific.
It is, yeah. No, it is horrific. I love that you get the mini pigs for the brownies.
And I like you get you get sort of these, you know, clearly in the background people have just got big, like
of course, yeah.
But some of the ones in the foreground, there's a really cool one there's the guy led down with the back end of a pig sort of coming out of his clothes sort of thing, and it looks really gross and twisted and quite effective. There's some really cool things, and even, you know, when Morrigan goes down and he comes up and he's got the tusks and the snout and stuff, and it gets worse as it goes. All really wonderful effects work.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good.
Apparently, I can't remember how many pigs they had. They had a lot of pigs, and apparently all they wanted to do was rut.
I'm sure.
So apparently there was lots of buckets of cold water poured over these pigs to stop them.
Willow, obviously discovering everyone is a pig, finally comes back to Raziel and uses the wand to turn her into every animal in the zoo, and then eventually a woman.
Yeah, you get an ostrich.
Tiger is one of them.
And this was.
They just love the morph effect. They're like, we're gonna get our money's worth out of this fucking thing.
The first use of it, and it, you know, is it Dennis Moran? I think was the supervisor of it. Really fucking cool. They said initially they were just going to do it sort of stop motion, and then they were going to do it, you know, another way. And they eventually he came out and said, "Look, I think we can do this with computers."
Yeah.
I think if you know we work out program it all in, we can get really good points of you know to get it through. And it's bloody great. It's so good. Yeah. And obviously, you know, when they went on to use it in Indiana Jones and the Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
With Kirk and that, and it was it's the Last Crusade scene with the melting face at the end. And well, obviously it went on for Terminator 2 as well.
Yeah,
so this is the really cool use of it. And I think for me the most effective shot is, and like I said, it's the one with it is a puppet as well, but when the goat goes up on its hind legs and the neck stretches.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool.
It is really cool. Yeah.
When it becomes the ostrich, it's really sweet.
Mm.
And then eventually you get the old lady.
Yes, she's been returned finally.
Yeah.
She of course undoes the pig spell, and all of the humans meet, and the underbrownies. They meet and discuss what on earth they're gonna do. Of course they say, well, look, she's way too powerful. But Raziel says, well, look, my powers are protecting you. She can't transform you again. Like I'm protecting you now. And some of them want to run away. They're like, look, we're soldiers, Martigan. We're not gonna. This plan's not gonna work. Like, we can't do this. But of course, they are ultimately convinced. And the following morning, this ritual must take a long time because we keep coming back to the ritual.
Yeah. And Willow that comes up with the plan, isn't he?
Yeah. But they don't. Because one of them's like, oh, this Peck's plan won't work, and
Yeah. But also, I love Patricia Hayes' performance as Roselle when she's she looks at her hands and she realizes that she's old, and I love that sort of, has it been so long?
Yeah,
I've been there so long. And Patricia Hayes is another one of those actresses that was in so many really cool things. I mean, she was in Neverending Story.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite of her characters is, have you ever seen A Fish Called Wanda?
No.
Oh, dude, you have to see A Fish Called Wanda. There is this amazing. She's this woman that has basically witnessed what's going on. So, Michael Palin is supposed to murder her. He's supposed to kill her. He's basically supposed to do a hit on her, but he keeps missing and taking. Actually, he's got these little dogs, and he keeps killing the dogs.
Right.
And it's really like sad because he's this animal lover.
Right.
And he just keeps missing this woman, and it's really, really funny. You have to watch Fish Called Wanda. It's brilliant.
Okay, I'll give it a go. So, the next morning, or later, I don't know. It's daylight again now, anyway.
Yeah. The whole time stuff here is a bit...
Well, you just assume the ritual takes fucking ages. That's the only explanation. Willow and Raziel head out by themselves, and Raziel says, "Hey, give us the child." But of course they're laughing, and they're like, "Right, open the gate. We'll just kill these fuckers," But of course, as they charge, because they only send out about 4 guys, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, there's only 2 of them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's just a little raiding party, isn't it?
But of course, Willow hits the drum, and all of the troops appear out of the ground, and they all charge, and of course that was their way into the castle.
Yeah. Because I think the idea is that it's early morning, and it was only a very small watch that were on the gates. So all of them. Well,
I think that's why 2 of them went out, because they knew that if just the 2 of them went out, they wouldn't send many troops out anyway. They'd just be like, oh, fuck it, like it's nobody,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so a huge battle ensues. We get some pretty gruesome bits for what is a ostensibly kind of a kids movie. You do get to see people covered in fucking boiling oil and shit, and like screaming at the bottom of the thing. We get a Wilhelm scream, which is most appreciated.
Actually,
always.
There are 3 Wilhelm screams in this movie, I think.
Oh, there was one here that definitely stuck out to me. I didn't realize there were more, but
yeah, there's 2 here. There's one earlier on, I think, on the cart chase, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's at least 3.
But yeah, so as the battle goes on, Sorsha, Raziel, and Willow head up and confront the witch and the druid.
Yep.
And I love when the witch when the queen's like, "I must despise you now." To Sorsha, when Sorsha comes in, she's like, "Mother, and she's like, "I must despise you now," because by now she's got like the sunken eyes, and she looks really fucking like.
Yeah. She's going full emperor now.
Yeah, she is going full emperor. It's great. And yeah, so the fight kind of ensues. She almost kills Sorsha. She like throws her towards a wall of spikes.
She lifts her up and throws her against the wall of spikes, and
Raziel stops. Yeah, stops her.
You get a pretty good
magic off.
Great old lady fight. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, I think it's the queen uses fire, so she uses ice, and Raziel uses ice, and she explodes the ice, and then she throws rocks on her, but then Raziel just gets a bit annoyed and just starts smashing her into walls.
She loses that. She drops the wand, doesn't she, when she gets hit?
Yeah.
The rock.
Yeah.
And then then it basically becomes a sort of a lady bitch fight, old lady bitch fight, and you get them.
Oh no, I meant the bit before that where she like uses the wand to like throw her into the ceiling and into the wall and stuff. She's just like
she does that spinning around.
Like
Gandalf
yeah. I always assume, is that a callback? I don't know, but
I don't know.
But it makes me laugh. But yes, you're right. It does then descend into an old lady fight where they lose the.
One of the sort of stray bolts of magic hits.
One of the cauldrons or something, isn't it?
I think it's a what do they call it? A brayer?
Oh, okay.
You know, what do they call it? It's full of ash anyway, isn't it? It's full of ash and bones.
Ash and bones, yeah.
A brayer, I think. And I love this thing.
It's a cool little animation, yeah.
Because I like the fact that the lid keeps lifting, and you see the sort of that, like the hands and things, the bony sort of bits inside, sort of almost like pushing the lid up. It's really cool design.
It is cool.
Chasing Willow around as he's trying to get to the altar.
Yeah. Meanwhile, outside, Kale mortally wounds Eric, and they have. Him and Martigan have a moment. He tells Martigan to win the war for him, and
I do think it's unintentionally funny when he goes down and then he rolls towards Martigan. There's just something I find comical about the way he rolls.
Something about the framing of it, I think.
It just looks really. I think it's too long and it's not a steep enough gradient.
I agree. If it was filmed differently, they might have got away with it. It's too wide, I think, of a shot, and you can kind of,
It just looks like he's rolling.
Yeah. Like he was clearly told to roll, and so he rolled. Martigan faces off against Kale. Pretty good fight, I thought. It's not bad.
I really liked the fight with him. It's quite well choreographed. I mean, obviously it's not the best fight ever, but it's nice.
It's pretty good though. It's not terrible.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like that he breaks the mask, and you get that really cool switch that he does because he picks up Eric's gauntlet sword, doesn't he?
Yes.
He's got the gauntlet sword in one hand, and he's got the he's underhand using the other sword, and he does that sort of switch where he deflects his sword and then rolls round and stabs him in the stomach with the gauntlet.
And he kind of pulls him onto the sword as well to run it through and then throws him off.
Really cool bit where he's got Kale's I think it's a flamberge. He Pat Roach being the huge dude it looks tiny in his hands, but he Mad Mulligan I think stands on the handle so that the where it's resting on the guard, and it flicks it up, and he basically forces him onto the.
Yeah, he forces him down onto it. Yeah.
Forces him onto his own sword, and that was. I thought that was very well done. That's very
cool. But we then cut to my favorite shot of the movie, which is the two old ladies. They're fighting over the wand. They both got the wand in. They're both holding the wand, fighting over it.
Yeah.
And Raziel just starts punching her square in the face.
She just punches her straight in the face. It's brilliant.
It's it makes me laugh every time I see it. It's such a funny shot.
Yeah.
I don't know why I find it funny, but I do.
No, but
it's just funny.
Because I think it's kind of unexpected.
It's kind of Sam Raimi like, in that kind of.
That now you come to mention it, this attack does feel very much like
Raimi was brought in as a second director for a few.
It feels very Army of Darkness, doesn't it?
Well, there's a few bits that feel Army of Darkness because obviously the brownies feel a lot like Evil Dead 3 as well.
Yeah. But I also like the Willow finally pushes the animated Brer into out of the window sort of thing with that trident thing that he's got, which is cool.
Yeah. And finally, Raziel is seemingly defeated, and Willow stands up, grabs the baby, and
not Raziel.
Yeah, Raziel is seemingly defeated.
Bathmorda, you mean?
No, Raziel is seemingly defeated. Willow grabs the baby, and then Bathmorda starts the bit when he throws the acorn and turns her hand into stone. Doesn't last very long, but he tries, you know.
No, that's a cool effect as well, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was a good... Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because I was like, it is a really cool... there are some really good effects in this, and they do stand up, most of them. I really do think they stand up.
You know, for 88, it's really bloody good.
It holds up, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so many shots in this hold up.
Yeah. And sure, some of the blue screen is a little furry around the edges, but I think mostly it holds up really well.
Yeah. And finally, Willow, without any wand, says he's gonna take her to a place where, you know, take the girl to a place where she can't be defeated, and
she will find her.
Yeah.
No place exists.
Exactly. And of course, Bathmorda grabs the wand, and as he's chanting, she attacks, but of course the baby's not there.
Yeah, he does his disappear.
It was the act from earlier.
Yeah,
he actually did his act from earlier. And this causes the whole thing to backfire, right? Because then she starts basically getting attacked by her own spell.
She basically
like deflects back on her, doesn't it, or something?
Yeah, well, she knocks over all of the the stuff that's on the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
On the shrine, so it goes over her. So I'm guessing that and the lightning strike basically perform the spell on her, so it's her soul that gets purged, not the baby's.
That's right. Yeah.
And again, that's really, really effective as well. The way she's like stretched up and she slowly sort of, you know, the lightning strikes the wand and you get the lightning effects on her face and you see her skull and stuff, and the red mist comes around her and takes her off, and she just slowly disintegrates.
Yeah,
that's very cool. It's effective.
Very good. Yeah, and that's that. We get a nice like Star Wars like ending. Willow gets the magic book, and she's like, "You're on the way to be a great sorcerer," and it's like, well, not really. Not really done fucking anything. He just did a disappearing fucking pig trick to win the day.
He did change her though. So
eventually, yes.
He didn't get over himself enough to.
He went through every species of creature before he got there, but he did eventually.
What's really weird as well, also, is when you've got Mad Mulligan and Saoirse sort of stood in their like lovely new clothes.
Yeah, they've got the baby and yeah.
Yeah, there's an old guy stood next to her. Did you notice him?
No.
So stood next to her. There's a regal looking guy with this like beard and long
I didn't
hair.
Notice.
And, that's supposed to be her father.
I didn't even notice he was there. So
yeah, there's a dude which is supposed to. It's never mentioned. It's in the script and stuff.
Maybe it's a cutscene. Might be another cutscene somewhere.
He's supposed to be her father, and they're supposed to have been like he's supposed to have been a good man and all that sort of stuff. But they just didn't ditch all that. So you do get a brief shot of him, but that's it.
And then, of course, Willow returns home, and he to the adoring crowd. He throws the apple into the air. It turns into a dove and shits on what's his name's fucking head.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And we get a nice little emotional reunion of him and his wife, and it's all lovely. Everyone celebrates Willow. Willow is wonderful, and is now presumably going to become the wizard's apprentice.
I mean, I'd have thought so after that, considering he was right in the first.
Well, I was wondering whether he needed to be an apprentice at this stage, but I'm assuming there's more to learn.
I mean, he doesn't. Well, as you pointed out, he doesn't really know shit. So yeah.
No, although he did just turn an apple into a dove, so that was something.
That is true.
But yeah,
I guess he learned a lot on the journey back home. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
If you actually read the book.
But yeah, that was Willow. I really enjoyed rewatching this. I was surprised at how well all of those effects stood up. And I thought the performances, for the most part, even Warwick Davis, who is not great in places, it kind of works for his character anyway.
Yeah, it does. I was slightly. This is another one of those times where I was slightly worried because it'd been a long time since I've seen it.
I didn't think the effects would have held up anywhere near as well as they did.
Yeah, and I honestly thought, maybe the whole story just doesn't hold up anything.
The biggest one is Sorsha's turn. That's the one I really don't buy.
That it does feel very forced. It
fine.
Does seem a little quick and a little sort of the
if they teased it earlier, it might have been okay, but it does feel.
Yeah, I mean, they you do get the druid saying she's going to betray.
Yeah, but I needed to see more of why, not just like on a whim.
Yeah, there needed to be some scene that was a little bit more, just for an explanation for her character, you know, just to make her
definitely
a little bit more human.
Yeah, maybe if she looked in the child's eyes and kind of started falling for the child as well, that would have been enough, I think, to tip it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a really good film. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad we.
I think it's a really fine example of that 80s fantasy.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones for sure.
And it holds up really well. And I was very impressed with I mean, I'd happily show this to people.
Me too. I think it's really good fun.
It's still, you know, it's still right out there with
80s fantasy for sure.
Yeah, one of the best examples of that.
I agree. So yeah, that was
my wife did when I said we were doing this. My wife said, "Why aren't you doing Legend? That's much better."
We'll get there. Oh yeah, I'll happily do Legend. Don't worry, we'll get there eventually.
Exactly. There's no way we're gonna. Tim Curry is Darkness. There's no way we're not going to do Tim Curry as Darkness.
Great movie. But yeah, that was Willow. We will, of course, be back next week with our usual review fare. But until then, stay safe, take care, and we'll catch you next time.